Hey, welcome to another episode of Behind the Bar podcast, brought to you by the lovely coaches and clients of RT Fitness Durham, Sunderland, and the Barbell Club, where we take you from complete beginner to photo shoot ready. So before we start, we are still taking on people for our January the 9th start on our 90-day total transformation, where you can lose up to 40 pounds, training only 3 to 4 times per week, fully coached in both of our units. All you got to do is click the link in the description below. There you'll answer a few questions and then book yourself in with a call with either Sarah or Kirsty, and we'll get straight back to you. So on today's episode, we have Mr. David Wise. Dave started with us way back in 2020. Yes, 2020, during the lockdown. So he actually started as an online client when we were forced to move online, started as an online client, and then jumped into our sessions over Sunderland, and then from there he moved house and then moved to our Durham unit, still doing our Carnage program, and then he moved over to the Barbell program, and then he did our 12-week shred, and the man is absolutely shredded to bits. He is a beacon of positivity throughout the gym, a massive cheerleader for everybody. I don't think there's a day go by that he doesn't put on Facebook about checking into the gym, tagging all of his gym buddies. Honestly, true Mr. Motivator himself, and brilliant guy to coach. He just follows everything down, and it's an absolute pleasure to work with him on a day-to-day basis. So here's Dave's story. Enjoy.
Hello, alright, Mr. David Wise. So who are you? Work-life balance in order for you to continually train?
Well, I changed my work-life balance a while ago when I came to, at work, I was working like 60 odd hours a week,
Right.
plus, and got to the point where Bernie was doing really well, Body Shop at home, working for herself, and I wanted to reduce my hours, and basically I wasn't able to. So in the end I left so we could grow her business more, and that resulted in me like working part-time.
Right.
So that works around me, but for training wise, for me fitting things in, I start very early on the morning, so I'm up at 5.
Yeah.
Come in, I've started cycling in, so that adds a bit more into what I do. So for me it's at the early start, so I get in early as I can, and then there's no interrupting or like friction between work life, home life, and going to the gym. So everything fits in nicely.
So so you're up before the kids?
Yeah, I'm up before anybody else in the house, out, and then back in is the little one's getting up, and I'll put his stuff out on a morning, on a night time for his clothes for school, and he knows, he's only 6, so he knows when he gets up, he gets dressed in his school gear, he comes in, I come in, I sort breakfast out, he's already ready.
Is he?
So, yeah, so he's ready in his school gear, ready for his breakfast.
That's mint.
So he is really good, like.
So he's prepped?
He's prepped. He's prepped. My stuff's prepped on the morning, ready for me to go.
Yeah.
And no snoozing, straight off, creep out like a ninja.
Yeah, I do that as well.
Because there's hell on if I wake up the house, and then that's it, back in, and he's ready to go. And then it's like start the clock there, so Arthur's up, then it's see whether Blake's up, Bernie's up, and then we head in different directions, taking the kids to school. Bernie heads to Sunderland, takes Blake, and I take him to Durham, and then crack on from there.
Oh, so he's moved up to the...
Yeah, so he's end of our street, so he's really easy, but he likes riding his bike in, so I go along with him, ride his bike in, normally me pushing him or him like pretty much dragging along, so I end up jogging along. So I get a bit more steps in there that way as well, then walk back home, and then that's us ready, starting the day, whatever work's got to be done. So we full on in the morning, it's all going, but we organised well enough.
So you're basically preloading your day?
Yeah.
Which is...
I like the early start that way, because it's like everything's front-ended, if you like, so you preloaded it, so you're gone and you're done as quickly as you can. And whatever else you get in then is bonus as well.
Mint.
So it is a full-on day. Yeah.
Doesn't it? Mint. Right then, fitness background from the start.
Ooh. I've always had a keen interest in fitness, whether that's playing whatever type of sport from a kid. But probably like always been really eager to be into sport, love any sport and activity, like having like taken part in,
Yeah.
but never had a background of like nutrition wise of it. So always go in and put performance in and like be able to go and have a go at summit.
Yeah.
And physically be pretty much decent at it.
Yeah,
not be the greatest, but able to like adapt to that sport. To keep up and do and enjoy it basically. Like so.
So what's that been like? Football early on and stuff
When
like
I was a kid, no, I didn't get into football till end of school, to be honest. So
Right, okay.
At school, we had like gymnastics and athletics.
Yeah.
We didn't have like proper teams, but like during PE and that, when everybody was like, "Oh, please excuse me from PE note," I was like, "What is on about?" Like I wanted to be in. So there was gymnastics going on, like track and field. I was good at sprinting and stuff. I wasn't very good at pole vaulting or out like that where it needed height. But like any of the running stuff and that, I was good at that. Then got into football later on. Towards the end of school, started playing, but played rugby for 2 or 3 years for Ashbrook, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Then, whilst doing that, I was doing kung fu at the same time, and then kung fu took over a bit more. Then I had a bit of a knee injury, so I couldn't really take part in that as much. And then got into, I always did bits and pieces of weights as well, but never had a proper program of like this is what you need to do. So I'd always be willing to in and out of any kind of sport and background really. And then from there, going to college, like the football took off more. So I played football every weekend, like 2 or 3 times a week to be honest. In the end, then after that it was like starting work and kind of that balance lost a bit. As being a young and getting taken on, coming out of apprenticeship, being a technician, having to work every Saturday and stuff like that. So that kind of took a little bit of a backfield, but then I started going like to the gym more, actually like weightlifting and stuff as well. But like just all round fitness, none of the big lifts that we do now. Get anything like that. So none of doing like the competitions or out like that.
More machines. Or anything like that.
Machines. Very few free weights really at that point. And then after that, actually becoming an adult and then going to like full-time work away. And then where I met Bernie, I went to the gym quite regularly. Then ran a bit, and then like I think you have that together. Coming together as a couple and like you don't have much money and you kind of stop doing things. So you fall off from doing as much activity, but I ended up still played for like 3 different teams for footy at that point. So I had I had 3 matches during the week, and I was like, then we had Blake, and it was like I cannot really commit to all of these time frames. So I drew that back to 2. But then I started going to the gym around the corner from us because we lived Peatley then, so it was the leisure centre gym. Done that, but again I was able to do that with times that suited us. So I've always tried to have the family life and then everything else fits around that. Is the way that I try to do it. And then from that I stopped paying for that because then we had the bit where we have like we try to save as much money as you could when we lived over Peatley. So I started running loads when we moved back to Sunderland. Moved to Pennywell, and I just started running loads, and then I was just running for probably before I started RT, probably over the course of like 10, 15 years, my exercise was just running.
Wow.
So it was just like 2 or 3 times a week. So I got into doing the Great North Run, and then I actually got up to the point where every weekend I was running like 12 mile like on a Saturday or a Sunday. Again, early doors, so then I'm back in and we can do whatever else we want to do. So I have been quite active, but never knew the nutrition, so never really got the max out of it till like I'd say like the last 2 years of starting with yous, and then knowing the nutrition has given me like performance has gone through the roof.
And how old are you?
For me, I'm 42 now, so I think that might be I've like peaked at 42 instead of peaking when I should have been like in my 20s or something. It's crazy.
So that's like for 20 years of not knowing any of the nutrition
whatsoever.
Side. Wow.
Absolutely crazy to think that I actually was able to participate in sports and do stuff to a decent standard and a lot of stuff without being like football, technically wise. I'm not star of the show, but I can run about more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Especially in the over 40s now, which
Yeah.
I've started off, which is good. Like, did get accused the other day of not being 40.
Yeah.
Because I was running about too much. So
That's,
it was a good compliment.
It was definitely a good compliment. Mint. I mean, thing is though, if you think, your nutrition must have been okay though.
Yeah, I think a lot, as like a lot of other people do, you think what you eat, what you think's healthy or you think's right. Or you've heard.
Yeah.
So until, like something like MyFitnessPal, the first week you put your stuff in there, there's a huge shock.
Right.
Of how many calories you're eating, like something like a slice of bread, for instance, like proper bread monster, and you have like 3 or 4 slices in it. It's like if you're on a deficit, it's a meal or it's more than a meal.
Yeah.
For 4 slices of bread, 4 or 5 slices of bread. So, although when you're training, the carbon up's great, which I've noticed massively after the shred.
Right. Yeah.
Of not having the carbs and then putting the carbs in, and then probably having more muscle mass now. Actually, how much more I now need to eat to push through further and like performing what I want to do. So it's been a massive learning curve.
Right.
But I do think it's like you eat what is trendy. Like you're trendy, like, oh, eat this instead of that. But you don't really, I don't think, because I think it would be great to have some kind of more knowledge of that and given to you at school. Because you learn about a lot of other stuff, but you don't learn anything about that at school. No. Remember, like Blake going to school, and the school dinners, and they were vegetarian, so they were only allowed 1 carb, so they could have the pasta and they could have something else and have the veg. And I think it might have been something like potatoes, or they had the potatoes but they weren't allowed the pasta. But I was like, but then when you look at it, it's like, but you're giving them a tiny portion of protein as well. So there's like, it's not really. I was like, for me, it's not a full meal. It is like it is that thing.
Nutritional balanced meal. Yeah.
It was a bit crazy, but I do think like when you first get into fitness and you go full hog, it's like that's the huge shock. I think a lot of people don't know like the diet, or not even necessarily diet. It's like what you want to eat to perform, like levels of carbs going in and protein and fats for performance or for recovery as well. So it is a lot. Yeah.
But I think going from there, like obviously school, I wish they would put some in. But it's like most people don't know nutrition. No,
not at all. Like I say, until I started with yous, I'd had not a clue whatsoever.
Right.
It's like I was like eating, because I did a lot of bike riding to work, and I was like, and running. So I was eating loads of nuts, but like instead of having a portion of nuts, instead of having your dinner, you're eating half a bag of big like walnuts. But then when you break down the calories to that, you're not having a great load to eat, but it's a load of energy, but then you're not full and you've ate a load more calories than what you need to be eating.
Like just a portion. Yeah. That's like 500 calories for nuts, isn't it?
It is, but it's like, and like say, till you start looking into it and actually seeing how much something is, and then you kind of get an idea. So now I can actually have a walk over to something and I can go and pick some things out the cupboard, knowing roughly what I've got, and then it's somewhere near.
Yeah.
So it is a massive, massive learning curve for that though as well.
So would you say you can just literally see,
I could eyeball something now. I remember before weighing absolutely everything, and Bernie's like, "What are you weighing that for?" I was like, "Well, because I've never had this before, so I don't know what a portion actually looks like." And I was like, once I know what a portion is, it's like I remember, it's like roughly what it is. It's not going to be bang on 100%, but if you haven't got time to wait, you have an idea, so you're not massively over or under what you're wanting to have. But I remember putting your stuff in for the first week again, and you're trying to prepare a meal and having to weigh everything. But then once you have it, you've got it, because everybody eats the same. Like people go on, like if you're on a diet, you can't eat just that all the time. It's like, but you do that every day. Like you'll go to work and you'll have the same stuff. Yeah. So yes, I can eat this because that's what I like eating. So you can have that. But it's just having the knowledge of so it's instantly grab as well. Like that makes it easy. But the first stumbling block is because everybody, I think you have people have the brain starts frying. It's like, Jesus, I've got to weigh this, that, and that. And there's too much going on at once. But as soon as, like you've said, 3 or 4 meals and work from there, then build up from there. and then it's easier to figure your stuff out, I think, from there. It's the way that I did it.
I mean, you're right. I mean, I always use that
Yeah.
exactly the same example. Like they go to work, they still have the same ham sandwich, bag of crisps, chocolate
Yeah.
bar every single day,
Yeah,
without
but
fail.
because they don't see that as a diet, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, so I'm not having the same stuff, or I might change my packet of crisps or something, but it's exactly the same, or it's more calories, so it's the same thing.
It's mad,
Yeah.
but it's just. I think it's just breaking habits, isn't
Yeah.
it? And getting into these new habits. But they love the taste of the high calorie foods, I suppose, which is always everyone's downfall.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it?
The stuff that tastes nice tends to be the stuff that's like full of sugar or something in it. So, but it's like I just try, like I don't not eat stuff like that. I just try to balance it so I have the stuff that I like, but I'm willing to train, or I enjoy training. It's not a punishment for what I've ate. I enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
The benefit of that is I get to eat more food.
Yeah.
Or I get to eat more of the stuff that's nice, but not have like, I'm not like, oh, well, I've ate that, so I'm going to have to run 500 miles or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I do that. I'd like to train anyway, and then I can have basically just about what I want.
Yeah, the
really.
level you're
Yeah.
training at, and obviously for your current goals.
Yeah, current goals of being some mass.
Yes, exactly.
Very
yeah.
massmas.
Mint. So, I mean, you started with us online.
I did,
Didn't you?
I did.
During the lockdowns, how was that?
That was my first ever go of being on like Zoom and that.
Right,
but,
okay.
like, because Bernie's work
It was for us as well.
Was it?
Aye.
So we started using it at home because Bernie had started using it for her teams of the body shop with the body shop at home. So had a load of online training and that. So it was set up on the computer. But if you remember, it was actually, I came on as Bernadette Wise because I didn't have a clue how to change anything. I was like, it's on. But I enjoyed it because during lockdown, I was still going out running that anyway. But like I wanted to go better, like higher than what I was doing. And like I said before, just didn't have a clue about the nutrition. So I found that structure was really good because I would train in the morning and then I would sit down with Arthur and go through his schoolwork online with him.
Yeah.
So it was like a baptism of fire into online world of everything going on for me at that point, like with doing his schoolwork and doing my training. But I actually found it easier doing that.
Yeah.
But like the classes were really good, easy to follow, and the fact that you could have it set up so you had other people on screen, it kind of felt like you were out with other people as well, so you kind of had that social interaction, which I think everybody missed during lockdown, realistically, like, because you were stuck in the same four walls. I made a point, like, I got out every day for a walk or a run with the family. Like, I'd go out for a run by myself and then go out with the family, so we were outside for at least half an hour or an hour.
Yeah.
I just think everybody
nice
needed that.
Though,
it was really good weather. Wouldn't have been good if it had been khaki weather, like, would it?
Not at all.
Wouldn't have been a good lockdown at all.
But you did mint on the online, to be fair, and obviously the nutrition, that's where you learned it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
From there. You were my gym screen enemy.
The enemy.
Yes, it was one time you were just going high knees and it was like a boomerang. And it was like that. And I remember chasing you on it. And I remember pulling my calf that day.
Well, if you remember, I had me calf sleeves on because I had that, like, during lots of running, being on your toes too much, I was getting calf strains.
Right.
So I had me sleeves on for quite a while. After that, I actually had them on then. So I was pre-ready for the goal for that bit. So it was good for that bit.
Mint. Yeah. And then, I mean, from there you moved to Carnage over Sunderland.
Yeah, I did.
How was that?
I love that. I absolutely love Carnage. It's just like you come out of it with that massive buzz, but like I'd be absolutely soaking in sweat. So like I felt like when I trained online before I'd come into his live, I was like, I'm reasonably fit here. And then you come in and actually start using the equipment, and you're blowing out your arse again.
Yeah.
But you need that to be able to push again further instead of just being comfortable and not really progressing. And then I thought it was great. And I remember doing Tabata time and thinking, I'm absolutely hanging here.
Right.
Like, I'm hanging, but like in a good way. Because that's where I wanted to be. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get to that stage to progress further with that. But like, great friendly atmosphere. Everybody's welcoming, and it's not like people get scared or intimidated to go into a gym, where you don't get that here. because everybody's wanting
I think
the
everyone
same.
still does feel that when they're first starting.
I think until you come, but I think the first time somebody comes in, they tell that it's different because people will say hello, like, do you, like, if you're struggling, somebody will like, oh, do this or do that, do you know what I mean? Whereas in another gym, they would probably just ignore you. Yeah. And then people are too scared to ask for, I don't know, even instance for like somebody to spot them or help them get a weight, or actually, how do you do this? Like, no, somebody wouldn't walk over and ask that. Whereas when you've got a coach with you, or you've got somebody who knows the routine, and they're like, oh, well, if you, like, if something does stuff like spin your watch around, then the weight doesn't clank into you there and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? Just stuff like that, and that, I think that helps a lot of people on as well. It's good stuff.
Mint. So then you moved to Durham.
I did, yeah. Moved to Durham because,
did Carnage as well.
Did Carnage.
But because you moved, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we'd moved, so I'd started coming, because there was a 7 o'clock class on here which fit in nicely with me, because Durham, I used to drop Blake, Sunderland, I'd drop Blake off at school.
That's right.
Then I'd come straight to the 9:15 because you were doing
Sunderland,
doing the 9:15 when I joined. Do that, then back, and then do whatever we needed to do. Work-wise, at that point I was doing like lots of deliveries and that for Bernie's deliveries, for our body shop stuff, and then it culminated into doing like all kinds of other different stuff and that, and then it worked out better the earlier I would get in, so the 7 o'clock one here, because we'd just moved up the road at that point, and then I had a chat about it, and I was like, it works out if I can get in and start doing the 6:15 one, it worked out better for us, and I was over here, so there wasn't as much commuting and travelling about for it. So again, like, everybody friendly in that over here, and good crack. A few more bigger weights actually as well to chuck about.
We shouldn't be telling them that, Sunderland.
Just the one kettlebell, just the big kettlebell. That was like my best mate in the end, chucking that about a lot.
Because it only goes up to 28 over there. But no one can shift that one, so you're fine. So you went onto the barbell. When did you come onto the barbell?
I think it was
February.
I did like 2 months massing beforehand, just eating everything in sight, I think, at that point, to be honest. Whereas this time it has been more lean, but because I think when I'd finished doing Carnage, I'd leaned right down, but like there was no other muscle to show, so I needed to bulk to be able to, like, if I wanted to reveal muscle, I needed to go eat more cake and pie, basically, put on. But I kind of feel like this time round I haven't put on as much fat because I have listened to what you said, and like it's been leaner, so a lot of the time it's only been like 200 calories over, instead of where doing it when I first came over, in the end I was like, I can't eat much more, so I dropped the steps down to counter, like, to try and counterbalance it. Whereas this time I'm like, I'm not doing that again. So my steps are probably, and everything's probably gone up activities wise. Right. And I'm on probably about 3,500 or over. Like, when it's Tuesday night, if I do footy training, I've normally burnt about, in total during the day, I've burnt about 4,000 something calories. Right. So I eat more. I eat more on a Tuesday. But I kind of find I can eat just over, but like, I would think if I was cramming in and wanting to eat 4,000 calories a day, I don't think I'd be able to do it. Like,
not as clean as you'd like.
No, you'd have to be less volume food with more calories in. I think you'd be talking a load more sugar, which for a bit is all right, but then I think after that you just kind of sicken as well.
I mean, I'm definitely on the same page, because I think, like, if where you went on this nutrition journey, and like you've probably cut out a lot of the biscuits, I think it's hard to go back to it, even to try and add the mass. You can have maybe it's a day or two, but like, or you like, before I could have chomped and ate a full packet of biscuits after a full packet of biscuits. Now, like, we'll get them mini jammy Dodgers, and I can have 2 of them, and I'm like 2 little packets of them. So you have 8 biscuits, and like, I'm done. Right. But like, same as everybody else, though, I think you get a sugar crash, or like you want to have a load of sugar in. I think it's worse when it's like this, like when it's darker. You want the stodgy, like me and Tommy on about a day, like you want that stodgy comfort food. Yes, you do. But again,
before I'd have been able to just pouch and pouch. I think I can still eat pizza and bother whatsoever though.
Right.
That's my favourite, so I'll eat that till it's coming out my ears, I think.
Right.
But, it's kind of, definitely curbed the sugar as much. A lot of the time now, well, I haven't got any at the minute, but normally like me chocolate bar, I don't normally eat chocolate bars that much, but I'd have a protein bar instead.
Yeah.
And I'd probably rather have a protein bar now, to be honest. A lot of the time, until Christmas approaches, then we'll have some chocolate.
Yeah, we'll have some
Right,
celebrations.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that'd be good.
Mint. So, have a sip.
I will.
Because mine went freezing there. So why did you want to do the shred?
I got well, I always had in my head from probably being about 30 that I wanted to be able to lean out and see me abs. I'd never seen abs.
Right.
For all how fit I was, I'd never revealed abs. And I kind of think that every bloke at some point thinks, I want a six-pack.
Yeah.
I think that's like, and I think that's why a lot of us start first, like as you're younger, you go into the gym as well. And it's like, I do like, that was in my head, but it was a challenge to see in the end whether I could do it, I think, as well. Because like you can see, I've never done that, especially after purposely putting on the weight as well.
Yeah.
So I never have until now. So the last two times of doing the clean lean mass now and before, I've never purposely went and put on weight. I've just put on weight because either you haven't trained enough or you've just ate a load of crap. So I've never, like, up until then. So for me, definitely, I like a challenge. So when I can give myself something to go and like try and hit, it kind of motivates us further to go in and do. But I was just interested to see after like all the work I put in to see how much had changed. And like I got a massive shock at, I started getting lighter but looked bigger.
Yes, yeah.
That was that was like a crazy thing. That was crazy. I was like getting lighter than what I had during the end of carnage before coming to Barbell, but I looked much bigger, much more muscle definition and everything. So like I felt like everywhere it changed, like probably twice the size, but I weighed less, which was absolutely nuts. Like.
So how much did you lose in the 12 weeks?
I ended up being 11 stone. I was just over 13 on my last weigh-in.
30-ish?
Yeah, about 30.
Nice.
I think it was 30, 32, I think, from the exact bit. I constantly lost about the same weight, apart from the first week I lost more, but I think that was because we'd had a massive weekend, so that's kind of like that false weigh-in, if you like. That's what I always say that as. And the 2 weeks we were in Disney, I didn't, where every other week I'd lost £2, I'd lost £2 when I come back from Disney, but I thought that was a huge win.
Because you went to Disneyland during your shred.
During my shred, and come back still lighter than what I went, so that was a huge win. So, but every week I just consistently lost £2.
Right.
So it wasn't too extreme, and I found that easier. And one of the huge things for me was I had a meal left on a night time, like every night. So you weren't sitting, because at some point, if you're doing it, you're low calories, you're gonna be hungry. You've got to live with that, I think. So it was like fill up water like you should do anyway, and then it was me meal. So I'd had like 500 calories spare on a night time. I had my meal late on, so I was having a small meal with a family, and then late on about 9:30 I was having another meal. Like I had my second tea, is what I call it. So I was like a proper hobbit, basically. Like so I was having like it's my second tea, and then I was all right. Then you're not thinking about eating something though, as well. I think Tommy said it really well. Like it's when it comes to the night time, you've got to remember all the hard work you've put in during the day to not then go and spoil it, having not having a midnight snack.
Yes, yeah.
And I kind of lock
Shouldn't be up at midnight.
No, it shouldn't be up at midnight. I should be in bed at 10. I'm always in bed at 10. But it was, I think, the mentality of that, because I knew it was a challenge, and having the photos at the end where I wanted to be best possible. But when I went to Disney though, I didn't miss out on anything. I had pancakes, I had breakfasts when we went to the diners and that, but I did research before I went. So over there you can get an omelette, but you get egg white omelette with your breakfast. Pancakes, you can get protein pancakes, or you can get whole grain pancakes. So instead of getting a stack, you get two with having turkey bacon and egg white omelette. So you're having everything with the family, but you're having the lighter option of it. But I don't feel like I missed out on any foods whatsoever that I normally would have had when we've been to America. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't drink, but it's not really a drinking holiday anyway either, so I didn't even feel like I missed out on that. But again, it was that counterbalance of having, so I was still got them training regimes off you with the band.
Yes,
and I was doing them, and I was going out for a run because I was getting ready for running when we came back, because I did the Manchester half marathon a couple of months after we finished the shred. In fact, no, it wasn't. I think it was a month to go, the shred. I did it. It was when we went to Wembley. I think there was a month left to go. Just at a nice steady pace, that though.
That's some determination through
all
that.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we as coaches didn't have any, we didn't even have any fears of you not hitting it. And the thing is, like where you said you finished on like 11 stone, that's like, for £30, that's a massive percentage.
Yeah.
It's not like someone who's 20 stone losing 2 stone in 12 weeks. Do you know? Well, I mean, God, it's nearly like someone losing 4 stone in a sense, isn't it? Like someone that size losing 4 stone. So you fucking did well, like.
I probably drained the carbs, like you said, though, because I remember I was absolutely knackered the day before Carmageddon, and then just ate every carb in sight then.
Right,
which was great.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest carb high you ever have, that, like.
Yes.
It was awesome.
And it tastes with no water.
Aye.
So, are you happy with the results?
Yeah, absolutely ecstatic with his results. It was like miles more than I thought. It was like probably 10 times more than I thought.
Oh, really?
I was like, I thought, I'm going to look good here. But then I was like, I remember, because I didn't know you could do it on MyFitnessPal, but you put your weigh in and then you put your photo, and I didn't realise you can put your first photo next to your current photo.
Right,
and I was getting to the point where, without taking the picture, I could see every week the changes.
Right.
But like, I got the point was there, I was like, is that actually a picture of me? Yeah. Like the leaned out picture, I was like, it's like, that's crazy that that's actually me now.
Right.
That's like proper, like, unbelievable. So results were unreal.
Brilliant. How's Tommy?
Coach Great.
Tommy,
love him.
Because I would suppose he's been your most coached for the time, because you've had all of our coaches across the 2 units.
Yeah.
So how's Tommy? Because he's
been
coach.
Absolutely fantastic. The benefits of like techniques for stuff like bench press. Now I'm lifting 80 quite comfortably. Yeah. Whereas we first started.
And that's for reps.
That's for reps. Yeah. So that's actually 8 reps out now. I want to go a bit further down now, but the ability to chat to him and see how you're supposed to do this, and then change stuff out, and then the stuff that I find easy, we'll change that about so it's harder. Yeah. So get more weight on, or if it's difficult, we have a change that round so everything just fits in nicely. Right. With it. So now press ups, he brings his weighted vest in for us. We have chains and weighted vest the other day doing press ups on the box.
Excellent.
But I'm
oh yes,
I'm good at them.
Brilliant. Is that went over yet? Oh, look at you. So 2 more. So what's the driving force behind this massive motivation?
I've always just I thought about it. I always want to squeeze physically. I've always loved sport and that, but I want to squeeze the maximum I can out of it. Let's see, where can you get to? Right. But I'd had at one point when I was just eating a load of crap and that, I thought about it, you continue like this, you get to the point of where do you limit your lifespan, and it's like you're having kids and that, and you want to be as fit and healthy to be around as long as possible. Yeah. Basically for them, and show like a good example really of this is what, because as a kid we didn't have nutrition and that, you didn't know anything about it. So you didn't know about eating your fruit and veg as much, although to be honest, I've always liked my fruit and veg and stuff, but just not taught you should have this much and that much of this food and that food really, or if you're gonna eat 16 donuts, you're not going to be in good condition type of thing, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think a big thing is just to be around and fit and healthy as long as possible for your family life is a massive, massive draw to me. But then after that, I've got the stuff that I love to do. I love competing and doing stuff, any kind of sport. So to kind of get the point of where you can turn up and have a go, at Summit.
Like the strongman.
Yeah, like the strongman, do you know what I mean? So like the first go doing that, I'd only done carnage, but I thought, I like stuff like that, so we'll have a go. And with having that training, it was after kind of the realisation of it, listening to Ross Edgley's book of...
Is it the fitness book?
The fitness book, so it's all-round fitness. Like the one thing that the Soviets got right.
Right, okay,
because other than that, they're not very nice, are they? So just like a base of all-round training techniques where you can then go away and train for one specific event after your base fitness is there, is which I kind of like to think I'm at now. So now if I want to go and do, like next year I'm signing up for a marathon. I am actually doing a marathon next year. So like me geared training as it comes up, that'll go more back to running again. But I kind of feel like I've got a few sports where I can just click over to and dedicate like 6 weeks to 12 weeks core training to that on top of what I'm doing, but probably be fit enough to fit it in. And then actually go out and do whatever I want to do on that event, like I think.
Brilliant.
Is the way I look at it.
Right then, so last one. What's the one piece of advice you would give to someone wanting to live a leaner and healthier lifestyle?
A leaner and healthier lifestyle. I think the big thing, I think it's food. So you've got to come to the point of where you're not like, I cannot have that. Like a lot of like when I put my recipes on and that, it's like I try to. So I feel like I've gone now from food being my biggest weakness, it's actually one of my strongest points.
Right.
So I look for a recipe, but like there's ways of making it leaner. So you can still have what you want, especially if you're in a deficit. So stuff like, instead of you fry this in loads of oil, you can bake it. Even just little stuff like that. Like during the shred, I actually had fish and chips, but white fish batter coated in egg mix with salt and pepper, crunched up cornflakes, put it in, glaze that with the egg, that goes in, but you get like a crispy batter feeling, but like you haven't deep fried it. So it was like 30 grams. Like the biggest calorie on that, if you broke it down itself, would have been the cornflakes, but because it's only in a small amount, but it gives you that crunch. So you kind of satisfy, and especially in the deficit, you're satisfying that itch of like, oh, I wouldn't mind that. But you kind of can. I think you've just got to be a bit cleverer. But like, if you want to have something, you have that, but you can build like the rest of your day food-wise around that if you want to do. Or if you want to have that, can you get more work out of yourself to have that as well, to give you that balance? It is all about balance, I think. It's like, because if it's too much, like you go back to the objective of too much of the stick or too much of the carrot, it doesn't work. You've got to find that middle ground of like, where are you happy with? What do you like to do? And the exercise needs to be it's not a punishment for what I've ate, it's something that I enjoy doing because I get to move about, or a celebration. I think it's what Emily said, a celebration of your body's ability to move.
Right.
Not, I've come here because I've ate this and I will punish myself, because then I don't like you don't then enjoy it, do you?
So you're like basically punishing yourself on a weekend with these dodgy foods, then punishing yourself at the gym.
At the gym, yeah. So that's what a lot of people have. It's like when you talk to people, it's like, oh well, I couldn't go out and one of my mates, like it's about running. It's like I couldn't go and run because I can't run for that long. It's like you kind of switch off from that, because for me the exercise is a massive de-stressor as well. Yeah. So I see that as it's kind of like free medicine. You've sorted yourself out without going down a dark route of doing something else. Like say you're going out on a bender to get over something, to go out and de-stress. Yeah. And then make it much healthier. And cleaner mindset of it, like, and so I think that's the
crux of that one.
That one, I think.
Well, thank you very much,
Mr.
Wise. Absolute
Thanks for having
pleasure.
us.
No, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Cheers, buddy. Thanks.